Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Gene Curl, and on this channel I talk about religion and spirituality. And I've talked a lot about my deconstruction. Today I'm going to be using my phone. For some notes so I don't get too off topic. And people always ask me why I don't believe in their religion, and they expect a simple answer, but it's a bit more complicated than that. And I have a myriad of reasons. Most of them are not simple. It isn't one thing. It isn't one reason why I don't believe. It's 1,000 things. This isn't my deconversion story. I talked about my deconversion story in a series of videos, and I'll put a link up top to that series as a whole playlist. I think 10 videos of my deconversion. This is not an all-inclusive list of reasons why I don't believe, and I'm bound to forget a few things, or probably a lot of things. One of the reasons why I don't believe is all religions fervently believe that they're the correct, but because of their exclusivity claims, not all religions can be true, but all of them can be false. It didn't take me long to realize that all religions firmly believe that they are the one true religion. And as I said, obviously, if every religion believes they're the one true religion, they all can't be the one true religion. And so all of them can't be right, but it is possible that all of them could be wrong. And when it really comes down to it, there is no real evidence for any religion, and all religions have to be taken on faith. As I talked about in my other videos, I was raised Christian, Baptist to be specific, and while I was growing up, I never considered any other religion. I only thought about the Baptist Church, and I was convinced that it was a correct tradition. I was taught that there was a lot of evidence for my faith, and I believed that until I went to college. And I had a professor tell me that there was not a lot of evidence that there wasn't any evidence for many of the Bible stories, which I will get into in a little bit. Growing up as a child, I didn't doubt the existence of God, and I didn't doubt Christianity. I sometimes doubted my father because he didn't practice what he preached. But when it came to the point where my father was arrested and went to jail, or went to prison, at that point I completely lost faith in my father's religion, and that left me open to join the Mormons. Just as my father claimed that his religion was a one true church, the Mormons also claimed that their church was a one true church. And I bought the claims of the church hook, line, and sinker. I was so into the church that I served a 2-year mission for the church, trying to bring people into the church. And that was done at my own expense. On my mission, though, I started to have doubts about the religion, but I put those on the back burner, or as Mormons like to say, I put them on the shelf. After my mission, I went to college, and that forced me to confront a lot of things that I was taught about life and about religion. Going to college forced me to confront a lot of things that I was taught while growing up, and a lot of things that the religion had taught me, both the Baptist tradition and the Mormon tradition. And I was finding out a lot of troubling things about Joseph Smith and the history of the church, and that bothered me a lot. And at the time, I was in college, and a college professor told me that there was no evidence for the Exodus story. I thought she was completely lying to me. So I did some research on it, and try as hard as I might, I couldn't find any real evidence that the Exodus story happened. The closest thing to evidence that I could find about the Exodus story is that there are supposedly some wagon wheels under the sea. But they don't know for sure if they're wagon wheels. They just know that there's coral grown in a circular pattern that could have been around a metal object, but they can't tell because they're not allowed to disturb the coral. But there's no evidence. Egypt is really good at keeping records, and they didn't write anything about the children of Israel being in Egypt. And there's also no no archaeological evidence for them being out in the wilderness for 40 years, and millions of people living in the wilderness for 40 years in that small stretch of land, they would be able to find something that they found nothing. And in my research, I also found out that a lot of other Bible stories didn't have any evidence. I found out that there is no real evidence for the miracles of Jesus outside the Bible. I found out that there's no evidence for outside the Bible, there's no evidence for the divinity of Jesus. I found out that the Jews don't believe in Jesus because he didn't fulfill all the prophecies about the Messiah. I was taught growing up that the reason the Jews didn't believe in the Messiah is because of the lies spread by the Pharisees and Sanhedrin, and because of the empty tomb, and the Romans guards lied about the empty tomb so that they wouldn't get in trouble. But the real reason why the Jews don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah is that there are several core prophecies in the Old Testament that Jesus did not fulfill. And Christians will say, well, he is going to fulfill those prophecies, he just hasn't yet. But in the view of the Jews, in order for a son to be the Messiah, they have to fulfill all of those prophecies when they come, not at some future point. There is no evidence that Jesus rose from the dead or that the tomb was empty aside from the Bible. Some people say that we have the account of 500 people that saying that Jesus rose from the dead. We don't actually have the account of 500 people saying Jesus rose from the dead. We have the account of one person saying that 500 people saw Jesus after he rose from the dead. And that is in the Bible. All of the other evidence for Jesus, there's evidence that there was a religious leader named Jesus, but there's not a lot of evidence. There is some evidence, and some of the evidence is spurious at best. There's also no evidence that King David or King Solomon ever existed. Growing up, my father was a faith healer, but I never saw anyone get healed. Before my father would attempt to heal anyone, he would always say to them, do you believe that God can heal you or kill you right now? And only after they said yes would he attempt to heal them. But when they failed to get healed, as was always the case, he would say that it was because they didn't have enough faith. The LDS Church, the Mormon Church, or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as they're properly known, they taught, and they believed in faith healings too, and the anointing of oil, but I never saw anyone get healed when I was in the Mormon Church either. I never had a prayer answered, not as a Baptist or as a Mormon, and I've never seen any evidence that anyone else had a prayer answered either. All the things that people say their prayer was answered, it's something that would have happened whether they prayed about it or not. From my experience, prayer has the same success rate as not praying. It's about 50-50 whether you get what you want or not. And so there's no real difference in praying or not praying as far as the outcome. All evidence available to me strongly suggested that either there was no God or that God hates me or doesn't care about me. Another big reason why I don't believe in God, in any God, is that because of the problem of evil. If the God is supposed to be good and loving, then there wouldn't be so much evil in the world. Epicurus, who was a Greek philosopher, he said, is God willing to prevent evil but not able? Then he is omnipotent. Is he able but not willing? Then he is malevolent. Is he both able and willing? Then when cometh evil? Is he neither able nor willing? Then why call him God? People will say that the reason why there's evil is because of free will, but the free will does not solve the problem of evil. Natural disasters and diseases could be prevented without taking away anyone's free will. And child abuse, rape, murder, and a lot of other things could be avoided without taking away anyone's free will. I can think of a lot of ways that the evils could be avoided without taking away anyone's free will, and I'm not an all-knowing God. So if I can come up with ways to prevent rape and murder without taking away anyone's free will, then an all-knowing God should be able to do that. Ultimately, I don't believe in God because I don't find the arguments for the existence of God compelling, and I've listened to a lot of apologetics from Christian and non-Christian sources. Another reason why I don't believe in God is because I accept the theory of evolution. Evolution accurately explains the origin of the species, and it makes a whole lot of sense. I didn't want to believe evolution because I was taught it was a sin, I was taught it was a lie. But when I started going to college and learned the theory of evolution, I tried to prove to myself that evolution wasn't true, and I did a whole lot of research outside of class, and I came to the conclusion that evolution was a fact, and if I wanted to ignore it, I had to stick my fingers in my ear and go la 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 or something like that. I would be an idiot to not accept the theory of evolution because there's so much overwhelming evidence for it. The Earth is quite obviously more than 6,000 years old. The Earth is very old. The Earth is billions of years old, actually, and there's all kinds of evidence for it. And so because of the young Earth creationists, that's part of the reason why I don't believe in religion, because of that. In college, I was forced to reevaluate all of my reasons for belief, and I realized that most of my reasons for belief did not hold water. So I'm not an atheist because I was proved that there wasn't a God. I'm an atheist because I evaluated all of my reasons I had for believing in God, and none of them were sound reasons. However, faith is such an important part of my life that I didn't know who I was without faith, so I held on to my faith. There came a day in college one day where I was sitting in class and the professor was talking about how we hold on to beliefs that are part of our core identity, even if we know they're wrong, because it's easier than accepting a new belief. And it hit me like a ton of bricks that I didn't believe in God. But as I said, I didn't know who I was without faith, because faith was such an important part of my life that I held on to faith, and I kept going to church for many years after that. I honestly wanted to believe in God, and I wanted to believe in the church, but truth is important to me, and I couldn't just pretend to believe something because I wanted to believe it. I can't believe something because I want to believe it. There has to be some kind of evidence for me. That's basically my reasons for not believing in God. I have more reasons than this, but those are my basic reasons why I don't believe in God. Basically, the big reason why I don't believe in God is I don't find the arguments for God compelling, and there's no real evidence for God. You have to take it on faith. And I don't want to take something on faith. I don't want to believe, I want to know. And since I haven't seen any compelling evidence in the existence of God, I don't believe in God. And I've seen a lot of compelling evidence against God, and I've seen a lot of compelling evidence against Christianity. And to be honest, I've never considered any other Eastern religion or anything like that because they don't have any more evidence than Christianity does. But they have the same amount of evidence that Christianity does, which is really none. So those are basically my reasons for not believing. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer, or there's something about my story that doesn't make sense to you, or if there's just anything you'd like to know, comment down below and I will do my best to get back with you and answer your questions either in another video or in the comments themselves. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, I would appreciate it if you had subscribed to my channel so you don't miss future videos. And if you could like this video and share it, that would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.